to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kira Show here. Now, before I begin, I was trying to figure out, a name for Deku's sister, without it just being lazy and saying, oh yeah, her name is going to be Izuki. But, this is getting annoying. And I was trying to do something clever with the whole naming thing for My Hero Academia, but this is just getting annoying now at this point. So, if anyone has a good name for the character that does have some meaning behind it, or, just would be a good fit, someone just leave it in the comments below and I'll pick it. Anyways, whenever we last left off, everyone has just gotten, a bit of a world shift experience. Everyone has somewhat been talking, and they all met their families. Bakugo met his mom after such a long time, Deku met his parents, and you also have the same thing happen to Kirishima, Ibara, and Momo, along with Kaminari, and, Shinsho. Him being a bit more surprised. Kinda thinking that his parents wouldn't really ever come back for him. But apparently they at least wanted to meet their son. So, this was a bit more tricky. Now, with that being said, I do believe they were at the church, so let's pick up there. Deku is training, and he is actually trying to work on this, mutation ability. I'm going to call it a mutation, since it is a mutation in his gene seed. Meaning that technically it could be classified as a quirk, but it is also not. It is just a power. So, an alternate power to a quirk. That works. Now, Deku, he's actually trying to get more control over his fire. Since, they are able to at least get his skin to secrete a certain chemical whenever he doesn't want to turn it on. As soon as he turns it on, this chemical stops being produced. And the oxygen against his skin will light on fire. Now, with that being said, Deku is training outside, in the courtyard. And he's actually just trying to work on getting himself to be a hotter degree of fire, or heat. Everyone's somewhat coming back for the day. They've been talking more with their families. And Deku's been a bit tricky with his. Somewhat having a thought that his parents tried to replace him, and whenever that didn't work, they just, wanted to see what was going on with him. Along with that, Deku, he would just sit down for a minute, and try talking with, Korn and Slanesh. He wants to ask them some advice, but, that's not a good idea. Since usually the advice Korn gives him is to beat the shit out of anything closest to him. Slanesh's ideas are a bit, they're not good. He embodies, basically, a more passionate side of, emotion. Let's just keep it at that. Now, with that being said, Deku is waiting, and, trying to think about this. They're supposed to pick their internships tomorrow, so exactly what should he go for? Now, meanwhile, inside the church, everyone is somewhat talking about their experiences. Kirishima is somewhat explaining about, her family. They were a bit hesitant to see her, but after she won a sports festival, and she seemed happy and, kind, even though she basically stabbed a lot of people with her quirk, they were at least somewhat reluctant to reach out to her, and they were not afraid to admit it, although her quirk has made her a lot stronger, or, well, more powerful. So, along with that, her being, well, having white hair, that shows at least a sign of purity. To them, at least. So things are a bit easier. Her still having a bit of trouble, though. Now, Ibara and, well, everyone's still talking, and Ibara would do one thing. Someone pulling Kirishima aside and still asking her a question about Midoriya. This still being a bit of a weird topic for her. She's not really sure what to do. But, well, Ibarra has said this statement before. She said it during the sports festival, and she's going to say it again. If she doesn't make a move, then she will. So, that being a bit tricky area. Now, with that, Kirishima, she begins to think. It doesn't really seem like a good time right now. They're going to be going on internships, they're going to be doing all this, so, well, she'll just give it a minute. Ibarra is somewhat, well, staring at her. Her facial expression doesn't really change, but she does just at least, well, say, alright, as she walks away. Now, with that being said, everyone would, well, enjoy the rest of their day. And they would then head for UA the next day. Now, with that being said, everyone is sitting in class. And they are, well, talking about their internships. Deku has gotten the most, while Kirishima is a close runner-up, along with Todoroki. These three have gotten, well, quite a lot. At least 50 to 60 more than the rest of the other other people trained by the Space Marines. They've all shown, well, good quirks and good battle prowess. Along with that, Deku does find it a bit confusing. But he does have an internship from Endeavor. So, who better else for him to train his fire against? And figure this out. While you have other people. Kirishima's thinking about her internship with Facom, because that would be a good one. Well, they all do notice one thing. Half the class has an internship request from Endeavor. So, that's going to be a bit tricky right now. Aizawa actually finds this to be a bit more confusing, along with Todoroki at least speaking up about it, and, well, concerned. His dad doesn't believe that he is strong enough, so he thinks that if any one of you turn that down, well, someone else will pick it up. Although I think he knows Midoriya would accept it. Deku just turning to him, saying that if he wanted his father's internship, then he wouldn't need to, well, look at a piece of paper. I could quite simply get your father to train me by walking up to him and throwing a punch. Todoroki actually a bit more, well, surprised at that. Deku's gonna straight up reject his internship. So, exactly why are you gonna do that? Well, because I'm stronger than your father. I have nothing to prove. You're serious? Yes, I am. So, what? Does your father have a problem with me? Actually, he does. For some reason, he wanted me to tell you one thing, though. He said, what was it? It was a phrase, I think, in Latin. Deku looking at him. As Todoroki just says that Deku needs to talk with him, or at least accept his internship because, well, The Codex would go against this. Him a bit confused. Deku's saying he's not sure why, but he just said, say it like that. Besides, it sounds pretty stupid, right? Now, everyone would just stay quiet. Deku picking Endeavor's agency, without really saying a word. Todoroki still confused. And a bit more interested now. The Codex. Whatever this is, clearly it's important. So, you follow some type of honor code. Noted. Now, with that, other people would start talking and actually get out of their seats. Ibara making her way over to Deku, as she basically gets really close to him and asks him exactly why is he going to pick Endeavors. Her basically just telling him that there are better heroes out there. If you wanted to, you could probably get All Might to try and train you, right? Now, with that, Deku would just start talking with her. Her actually acting a bit differently, and Kirishima immediately knowing what's going on. She's gonna try and make a move on Deku. So, why is she like this? Her somewhat smirking as she looks at Kirishima, before somewhat turning back to him. Deku at least picking up on a little bit of this. What is going on here? Well, whatever's happening, it's becoming annoying. Him trying to open up the conversation a bit more, asking everyone where they're going. Momo basically saying that she's not really sure, she plans on going to this agency, along with her and Ochako going to one by Gunhead. Gunhead was already confused whenever I said that I was a good marksman, let alone the fact that he saw some of my shots. As soon as I pulled the trigger, I could aim. He finds that to be a bit more impressive, so he wants to talk to me. Ochako basically saying that she's gonna go with this internship right here. Everyone's somewhat picking their own. Now, with that being said, this is whenever Ibara would just say that she'll just pick Endeavors then. Kirishima a bit more confused, changing her mind and, well, picking Endeavors too. Everyone's somewhat concerned. Exactly what is going on? Now, some of them aren't stupid. They know what's happening. And, well, they think Ibara is going a bit overboard on this. So things are going to be tricky. Now, with that, Ibara would just do something, deciding to change out of Endeavor's agency, saying that it wouldn't be any fun. Then, 3 is a crowd. Her somewhat just changing to another one. Basically going a bit back and forth on this, with her decision at her own desk. Keeping an eye out for Kirishima's response. Basically having a bit of fun with it. Anyways. Now, with that being said, they would get things ready. Deku and Kirishima would be heading out, as Todoroki is with them. These two getting ready, as something happens. Whenever they're at the train station and, well, separating ways, parting ways, that's the right way to say it, Ibara does actually ask to talk with Deku for a minute. Now, whenever she's talking with Deku, she's basically explaining something before she actually says that Deku has something, well, on his face. Him basically having to lean down and, well, ask what it is. Her basically pulling out a small mirror to try and show Deku. Before she actually just kiss him. This getting Kirishima a little bit mad. Her basically shouting at it, well, shouting at them to stop. Deku just, well, confused for a minute. Along with that, he actually does feel, well, a bit awkward about that. as Ibara would just walk away. Him going off with Kirishima and Todoroki. Now, Deku did pick up on the fact that Kirishima was a bit more, well, odd today and yesterday, so this is confusing to him. Wait, Deku was just thinking about this for a minute. He's had a bit too much on his plate, so he actually hasn't been paying attention very well. Until he somewhat thinks about it. Ibara's only trying to make advances on him, and Kirishima's getting mad. Okay, I get it now. Now, with that being said, Deku would just do one thing whenever they get to the internship. Immediately pull Kirishima aside and ask her what's going on with Ibara, and why did she kiss him. Kirishima trying to give an explanation. Her basically stumbling over her words and, well, sort of just hiding her face. Deku a bit, confused and intrigued about this. She's never really been the shy girl in the group. That kinda goes to Ochako. Even then, he's seen her bash a Tyranid's face in. Or, those mutated things back on the ship. So, Deku knows this, and he would actually ask her if she, has a crush on him. Her having to admit it, reluctantly, and trying to explain herself. Deku just telling her that that's okay, and it's fine. They can figure it out in a minute, okay? Now, with that being said, Deku is trying to figure this all out. He feels new emotions, and things he wasn't trained to feel. Along with that, Endeavor would meet Deku, and try and talk with him, saying that he's really surprised that he accepted his offer. But he's guessing it wasn't just, the internship he's here for. Deku just saying it, that's right. Todoroki and the Kirishima would talk, and train. Deku and Endeavor are speaking. Endeavor, he's just telling Midoriya that he's guessing the, Codex went against this was what got him, right? Deku saying yes. Not many people know about the Space Marines outside of their people. Endeavor somewhat smirking and saying their people. Yeah, sure. Genetically augment human beings. Then what? Tell them how to live their life. Give them a rulebook about it. You get more powerful, but what is it? What do you sacrifice? Humanity? Your will? What? Besides, how long are you going to be alive? As many times as I've seen those Space Marines, they all look like they're, my age? And they've been like that since I was a teenager. So, I've at least talked to people within that process. Those who know what's going on. Deku a bit confused, asking Endeavor how he knows about this then. Him basically explaining that since he became the number 2 hero, and he's held that title for a long time, they've tried reaching out to him to talk to his son. He thought it was a good idea, until he looked more and more into their order. Before, he thought Todoroki's training would just be good under his own. Throwing extra organs into a child, that just isn't right. Besides, it's not Todoroki's power. It's the Marines. Or, the Adeptus Astaris. So, He will beat you one day. Endeavor returning to his, confident bravado. Deku just telling him that's not going to happen. Besides, if you know about the Space Marines, I'm guessing you know about my other things. What other things? Deku just saying the gods of chaos. Endeavor looking a bit confused. Well, that's a dead end then. Now, with that being said, everyone would just be training. Todoroki learning more about his fire, along with sparring with Deku, using only that side. Along with, Kirishima, usually being the thing Endeavor has Todoroki spar against. During some of their free time, they do try and talk, and, try and figure things out. Ibara, she's a bit, yeah. If it means for her own benefit or for her own amusement, she'll do it. So, she's trying to set us up and get a laugh out of it, right? Kirishima someone explaining that that's what it sounds like. But, her getting a bit flustered, saying that they have known each other since they were younger. So, I don't really see Deku somewhat saying, you're right, but I think we should just figure things out for right now, right? With our families, the internship. Deku actually a bit more, less calm about this than normal. He's trying to figure this all out. Once again, why is his heart beating faster? Why are both of them beating super fast? Now, Deku, he has a bit of a problem. He would just go back to his room after the day, ended. And, look a bit on the past, along with pulling a picture out of his bag. He usually keeps this on him, a memory of the past, if you will. Whenever things weren't as complicated. He just stares at it for, what feels like a couple minutes. Or, almost hours. When only a few seconds have passed. The picture of him, Kirishima, and Momo. Them back during training on top of that mountain. Things were a lot simpler. Before the trials. Before augmentation. So, things are going to be a bit tricky. Now, with that being said, they would go through the rest of their internships somewhat like this. Deku and everyone talking and, trying to get things sorted out. Along with him while talking to his mom and going on patrol with Endeavor. Along with Deku actually thinking about that kiss that Ibara gave him. That was a bit, weird. But now he's trying to at least figure it out. And the first, girl he thinks about before even Ibara was Kirishima. Him getting a bit confused at this. And the next day, he would wake up. At least turn on a different section of his brain. He's had a lot more time to think than, a normal person. So, Deku, him and everyone would go out. Him, Kirishima, and Todoroki. Going out with Endeavor on patrol tonight. Until you have a bit of an incident. They would hear a loud scream, and there are no Mu attacking. Along with that, Deku would hear another one. A bit further down to the right. Him actually being able to hear a sword slice before that, and running in that direction. Kirishima following as Endeavor and Todoroki do the same. Endeavor having to get sidetracked whenever there are civilians being attacked. So, with that, Todoroki would have to stay behind, or at least try to help take down the Nomu and save civilians, while these two are running to a different area. Kirishima, she's a bit more confused as to where they're going to. Well, Deku, he just won't stop running until he comes charging in. You would see Ida on the ground, about to get cut into one of his arms. While Stain is giving a speech that he is not really a hero. He is just someone looking for revenge. Until Deku comes in and runs into Stain, smashing upwards into the face as he grabs him and tries to smash him into a wall. Stain immediately countering by trying to cut in Deku's arm. Now, as soon as he does slice in Deku's hand, the amount of muscle mass on Deku is enough to actually somewhat stop the blade, but Deku is still being cut into. So, as soon as Stain would pull the knife away, the wounds would heal, but there is still blood. So, as he would lick it, and find that Deku is immobilized. Kirishima immediately coming in. Her coming in at 65% and smashing into Stain as a hardened wall. Deku, he is immobilized, telling Kirishima to not let her hardening down. Whatever Stain's quirk is, it has to do with blood. Don't let him draw any. Ida, well, confused as to why they're here. Along with that, Deku, he's at least watching the battle. Kirishima, she is being, well, chased around by Stain. Her using her hardening quirk and one for all at the same time. Trying to catch on to him. And make sure that she can take him down. Stain basically trying anything he can to cut into her. Using smaller knives, throwing knives, and other things. While she's blocking them and trying to get through them. Until Stain decides to go after the vulnerable targets. He decides to try and go after Ida. As soon as he does that though, Deku would have gotten free. He is typo, I believe. So, Stain's effects wouldn't last as long. Deku being able to turn and scream, blowing Stain away from Ida. Stain a bit confused for a minute, before remembering who these kids are from the sports festival. Shit. Now, with that, Deku would light his torso on fire, along with most of his body, as he goes running at Stain. Stain doing one thing, getting his sword and going to stab it upwards into Deku. He stabs it upwards into Deku's chest as Deku just grabs him by the arms and begins to throw him around. He smashes Stain into a wall and actually does toss him across the alley, as he grabs onto the sword and pulls it out of his chest, dropping it to the ground, actually going down on one of his knees for a minute. Stain just saying that boy is gonna die now. Don't you feel very bad, hero boy? Ida a bit surprised, telling Deku to get out of here and to get to a hospital, as he watches the wound seal up. Deku just get back on his feet and will pop his neck, telling Stain that he's gonna have to go for his other heart, if he tries to do that again. Stain a bit annoyed. But hey, this is gonna be a lot easier than he thought then. Now, with that being said, Deku has a crack in his chest plate, so this is not gonna be easy. He just tells Ida to get back up, as Kirishima, she is fighting against Stain. Deku at least inspecting Ida's injuries. Now, he knows that Kirishima she'll be enough to take down Stain, but he's being a bit more trouble than he needs to be. They're trying to make sure not to kill him. That requires quite a lot of holding back. So, with that being said, Kirishima and Stain are going hand to hand. Her being able to punch into him and actually, well, try and counter him, while Stain tries to at least chip through her armor. Until he does one thing. He gets smashed across the alley as he does hold a knife in his left hand, pulling it out of his sleeve. Or not his sleeve, but pulling it off of his belt and getting ready with it. As soon as Kirishima walks over to him, he would have immediately thrown the knife outwards. And, well, it would not hit Kirishima. In fact, she would have tried to block it, but she would watch it directly heading for Deku, knowing exactly where Stain was aiming, as she reaches her hand out and goes to run for it. She is not fast enough. Along with that, she would turn and yell at Deku to catch that or block it, do anything. Deku turning his face and going to bring his hand up. Deku's movements are too slow. Everything feels like it's moving slow. Kirishima is confused, and she just needs to catch that blade. Now, she would reach out her hand, as a black substance would be on it, and immediately shoot out, grabbing the blade and immediately swinging it outwards, and stabbing it into Stain's leg, her losing control of Black Whip. Deku being surprised, along with Ida. He is really confused. Now, with that, Stain is somewhat screaming. Through all his broken bones and wounds, he now has another injury. A deep one, right next to one of his arteries. So, he is going to have trouble with this, and getting away. Him actually trying to leave, while Kirishima is losing control. Now, Todoroki would eventually show up, and immediately fire ice directly at Stain, trapping him in a wall of it. Him basically being left there, immobilized. Todoroki seeing Kirishima. She is basically holding her hand upwards into the air as Black Whip is smashing into all the buildings around her. Deku basically throwing Ida towards Todoroki, along with running in, grabbing her and grabbing Old Native. Him basically getting her to calm down by just grabbing a Black Whip and, well, doing something that might hurt. He's fairly certain that this will regenerate, but he needs to be careful with it. Basically, pinning her hand to the ground as Black Whip wraps around his arm, and begins to try and tear away at it. Deku telling Kirishima to calm down. She is losing control. Her basically just trying to do so, but she can't. Deku having a bit of a brash idea. This should at least, well, distract her. Deku just, well, kissing Kirishima. Her basically confused for a second as, well, she's more or less stuck in shock. As soon as that happens, Deku would immediately just grab his arm and rip Black Whip off of it, and, well, pin Kirishima's arm to the ground. Her trying to at least get a bearing on this, and trying to calm herself down more and more. Endeavor showing up to see what happens. Along with Kirishima, at least, well, freaking out a bit less about a quirk now, and, well, more about the fact that she's got a kiss. Now, with that being said, it would be announced that there were 2 students that helped against the hero killer, along with rescuing a fellow student from their school who was interning with a different hero, and another pro, native. The 2 barely got any injuries, and the only one who was injured was actually the one who tried going after the hero killer himself. So, he is going to be, well, a problem in the future. And it may at least put him a bit back with trying to get his hero license. But he did try and show strive in going after him, even though it was, well, not for the right reason. Now, with that being said, Deku would head back to the church, along with actually into his town. His mom saw him being at the church waiting for him, Him and Kirishima walking in as everyone does actually start cheering a bit. His mom actually holding up a bit of a newspaper, saying that today is a day to celebrate. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.